Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you to all of our esteemed attendees today. My name is Brian Maynard. I am the CEO and owner of Racine International, the makers of Host and Von Schroeder. And whether you're joining us from the comfort of your office or the convenience of your home office, we're thrilled that you decided to attend today's webinar. It's truly remarkable to see different representatives across the globe, whether it's many states or countries, coming together at today's event. As we gather today, I'd like to take a moment to highlight some of our recent accomplishments. We are proud to announce that we have successfully fulfilled contracts with the 15th largest school district in the United States, ensuring a cleaner and healthier learning environment for thousands of students. Additionally, for the first time in 15 years, we have attended Interclean 2024 in Amsterdam, where we showcased our latest innovations and connected with industry leaders from around the globe. Host truly is a global iconic brand. Speaking of innovations, we're particularly excited about some new developments in our brush shaft technology. They have the potential to increase cleaning productivity by over 30%, making your operations more efficient and cost effective. Furthermore, our Host sponges are poised to reduce the resoiling of carpets by nearly 20%, ensuring your facilities for longer periods of time. At Host, we believe that good business goes beyond just providing exceptional products. It's about creating value and fostering success for our partners. Whether it's leveraging a global leader in logistics to reduce shipping costs or by establishing regional warehouse partners to streamline distribution, we are committed to supporting your business as much as our own. We're excited to share those details with you once they are finalized. Before we dive into today's agenda, I'd like to take a moment and recognize Jeff Greeley. With over 4 decades of unwavering dedication to the Host cleaning method, Jeff has been instrumental in shaping our company into the global icon it is today. His knowledge, ability, and leadership are a testament to the depth of expertise that Host brings to the industry. Today is just a glimpse of the profound impact that Host continues to make in the world of cleaning and maintenance. We hope you find today's webinar informative, inspiring, and valuable resource for your ongoing success. At the end of today's session, we'll be having an open Q&A. I ask that you put your questions in the chat, and we'll answer those questions successfully as time allows. But until then, thank you for joining us. And Jeff, let's get started.
Okay, thank you, Brian, for that introduction. And thank all of you for taking time out of your day to join us for this webinar. We appreciate it. Some of you I have worked with in the past and some of you I haven't. But what we're going to do here today is give you an overview of the Host system and kind of bring you back up to speed on the Host system and how it works and what we're doing. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background and history on Racine International. The company was founded back in 1936 by 2 gentlemen, Mr. Von Schroeder and Mr. Wrench, who came from the Hamilton Beach Company in Racine. Mr. Von Schroeder was a salesperson and Mr. Wrench was an engineer. They got together and pooled their resources and moved into this building that you see in the image here and started the company. The first thing that they did is that they wanted to develop a better cleaning method, because at that time, back in the early and late 30s, when people cleaned carpet, most of the time they were cleaning area rugs in their home. Sometimes it was a wall-to-wall carpet, but most of it was area rugs, and a big majority of it, if not all, was wool. And typical cleaning methods at that time used a lot of water, a lot of soap, and used rotary machines, which created a number of problems on the carpet. The rotary machine could alter and change the texture of the rug. The animal-based soaps and coconut oil-based soaps that were used would leave a heavy residue in the rug, which created resoiling problems. And of course, when the carpet's wet, it couldn't be used. You had to stay off of it. So they were contacted by the Bigelow Sanford Company looking for a way to solve some of these cleaning problems. One of the predominant ones was the fact that these rugs were made on a loom. They were woven rugs. And when they're made on a loom, the wool yarn that's used to make the carpet had to be lubricated with a little bit of oil in order for it to go through the loom without creating problems. Unfortunately, sometimes too much of this oil remained on the rug after it was manufactured. And if you had a little bit of oil on the rug and people started walking on it, it would start to attract dirt to those areas that had the excess oil and lubrication that was there. If the carpet company tried to clean a brand new rug to remove that, because of the cleaning systems that were used with a lot of water and soap, they would pretty much ruin the rug, alter its appearance, leave a lot of soap in it, and it was actually worse than it was before. So Mr. Wrench and the Bigelow Company got into a patent pool and did a lot of studying on how to solve this problem. And they developed a product called Powderine in 1938, which was basically a clay powder mixed with a solvent ingredient. There was no water in this. So they solved the water problem on the rug because they were not using any water. And the solvent mixed with the clay powder was able to effectively remove the excess oil that was on the rug. So they used that with a brush on a long handle, on a broom handle, and you'd sprinkle the powder on the rug, brush it with the broom handle, and with the brush on the broom handle, and you take out the oils that were there, then vacuum that rug, and it was clean, ready to go, and it wouldn't resoil, and the oil had been removed. It was so successful that Bigelow Sanford put these cans of Powderine in their carpet stores all around the country, so that a homeowner who bought a Bigelow Sanford rug could walk into that store, buy a can of the Powderine rug cleaner, buy a brush and a broom handle, take it home, do their own rug very quickly and easily, and then vacuum with their own vacuum as the end result. This was an extremely successful product at the time and was used for many years by lots of homeowners. But Mr. Wrench felt that there would be a great market in the commercial side of the carpet business and was looking for ways to improve this original system. So he found that he needed to change the way it was being done, because using just a brush on the end of a broom handle is pretty intensive work if you had to clean a big ballroom in a hotel. But it's not bad if you're just doing your area rug at home. So he decided to change the way the product was worked into the carpet. And he developed a machine with counter-revolving brushes that would speed up the cleaning process, so that now you could apply the cleaner to the carpet, and instead of using a brush on a broom handle, you could clean it with a machine with two counter-revolving brushes that would lift up the carpet pile and at the same time circulate the Powderine product through that rug. Unfortunately, the Powderine was kind of a dusty product, and so he decided he would change what the base of this product was, because he also wanted to put water and detergents as well as solvents into the formulation. And you can't add water to a clay powder because it wouldn't work. It would just clump together. So originally he developed a product called Host, and it was introduced at a big convention in New York. And this was the first time Host was on the market in 1956. And he took the original two-brush machine and made it possible to hook two of them together. And when you hook two together, you had a bigger cleaning footprint, and you could do large areas in a ballroom or in an office building, as well as clean the carpet in your home. And the cleaning was much better than the original Powderine system. It would remove not only the oily soil, but also water-soluble soils and spots. And it was very successful. So he continued to work on this system and try to develop it for use in larger commercial facilities. And over the years, we've done many different changes to the system. Actually, we have about 85 years of award-winning innovation in manufacturing as we develop new cleaning products, as we made changes to the original host machine with the counter-revolving brushes, and eventually developed what we're selling today, which is the Liberator and the Freestyle that you see in this picture, which combine both the pile lifting and brushing action of the machine, as well as vacuuming capability. And it's that combination that was such an innovation that it made a complete change in how the host system would accomplish the end result in a facility or in your home or anything like that. So we've been around for a lot of years doing that. So I want to talk a little bit about our cleaning strategy, how we approach the best way to clean carpets and help you have the best looking carpets year round. So we need to understand what happens to the carpet as it gets dirty and use that to our advantage. So in a lot of ways, you could say that carpet in a facility or even in your home is just like a walk-off mat. And what does a walk-off mat do? It cleans off your shoes as you walk in from outside, takes up the dirt and the moisture, and you clean it off on the walk-off mat. So it's a good idea to put a mat, usually 20 feet long, at all entrances in your facility, all main entrances, so that you can clean the dirt that's being brought in by people, clean it off their shoes so they don't spread it throughout your facility. So you have to locate the areas in your building or your facility where you're getting most of the traffic. And then to effectively clean everything, you remove that dry dirt on a daily basis and clean as needed. And we'll get more into that as we go along here. But in all the years I've worked with various commercial and residential customers, there are a number of common problems that all of them faced in their facility. But perhaps the number one common problem was when they would clean a spot, in a day or so, it would come back. And they would complain about, why do these spots keep coming back? I cleaned it. Of course, they were using water and detergents and other wet cleaning methods. And it was a function of losing control of the liquid, and that's why the spots kept coming back. We can solve that problem. They also complained about the carpet is wet after you clean it, so it has to be out of service. And that creates problems within the facility. You can't use the carpet. And after all of that, the clean carpet doesn't last. It starts to re-soil more quickly because of residues of cleaning soaps and detergents that are left behind. And so after all the effort of doing the cleaning, the carpet just gets dirtier faster and needs to be cleaned again. And wet cleaning can be very labor intensive and costly, all the things that have to be done in order to accomplish it effectively. And many of them complained about the fact that their carpet had a warranty of 15 or 20 years, but they had to replace it much sooner than that because it uglied out over time because of these cleaning and maintenance issues. And an additional problem they faced was a wet carpet is an ideal environment for mold and bacteria and other things to grow, contributing to perhaps bad odors in the facility. So these are the main problems that people face, and they can all be traced back to using too much water, wet cleaning methods that exacerbate these problems we've just defined. Because with wet cleaning methods, it becomes very difficult for some people to accomplish. In a lot of states, it's expensive to treat the wastewater. You can't just dump it down the drain. It has to be going to a water treatment plant. In a lot of facilities, I've talked to people who say after we do the cleaning with this wet method, we have to turn on our HVAC system in order to dehumidify the air in a way to try to help dry the carpet. And then the traffic lanes start to soil quickly as people walk on that carpet because it's not completely dry and it's got residues in it. Sometimes the method used created streaking problems on the carpet, which often is a complaint that was made. And of course, as we mentioned, the spots come back, they wick back, they come back after they've been cleaned. And so people feel frustrated about having to clean them over and over and over again. And many of the chemicals that are used may not be people or pet safe. One of the things that we've discovered recently, and the reason that we have such an advantage with the host system, is the host cleaning method saves more than 83% of the energy needed to do commercial, conventional carpet cleaning. Because when you're doing wet cleaning, of course, a number of things have to happen. You have to heat the water. Then after you've done the cleaning, in order to accelerate the drying time, you have to use fans, which require power. Many times, as I mentioned, people have to turn on their HVAC to lower humidity and help drying time. And then, of course, there's the deal with trying to get rid of the dirty water in some sort of water treatment facility. Comparing that to what the host system does, you don't need to do any of those things. And that's how we can often save more than 83% of the energy that is required to do carpet cleaning in a facility. And of course, carpet is a popular item and offers many benefits within a home or an office. It helps to improve the indoor air quality. It helps to make the area more quiet. It's just also beautiful. It's a fashion statement. And it is easy to clean once you have the system and the methods perfected for yourself to get to that result. The way that carpet helps with indoor air quality is it tends to trap pet dander, dust mite, allergen, mold, dust mites, bacteria within the structure of the carpet pile. And therefore, it's not going back into the air to have an effect on the people who work there. Because carpet is a vertical, upright, textured surface that has depth, and it's porous. It'll hold on to liquid, and the liquid can also go into and even through the backing. But the carpet is doing its job. It's trapping the soil, trapping the problems that are there with the soil and the dust mites and the mold and all of that. But what we need to have is an effective way to remove that. So what is this dirt that's coming into our facility every time? If you look at that picture on the left, you'll see a doorway going from a hard floor into an office building, and you'll see a severely soiled section right in the middle of the doorway. But on either side, that carpet, it looks essentially clean. That's because people aren't walking there. People focus where they're stepping and where they're walking on the center part of the carpet as they go through a door, or in the center of a hallway, or through the center of, as they walk up to a counter in a facility. So the dirt in the carpet is made up of the visible dirt, which you can see, which is generally near the tips of the yarn. And that's what makes the carpet look dirty. But there's also something that tends to be caused by the dirt that's there if the dirt is removed effectively and frequently. And this apparent dirt is things like abrasion of the carpet fiber because of the sand and grit that's tracked in, and texture and shading distortions that happen during trafficking as people come in the doorway. And you put all this together, it kind of alters the appearance of the carpet. So, and then you've got the real dirt, which is the actual total dirt in the carpet. What we want to do with the host cleaning system and with the host equipment is to attack and remove the total dirt that's in that carpet. And where's that dirt coming from? Well, research has shown that 90% of that dirt is coming from outside, being tracked in on people's shoes. And about 10% of it comes in through windows and the heating and ventilating system in other areas, and it's just in the air, and it's pretty light and dusty. The dirt that we have to worry the most about is the dirt that comes in and is walked into the carpet by the people as they come through the doorways. And that dirt that's brought in, that 90% dirt that's brought in from outside, can actually be categorized into two different categories. Most of it, 85%, is classified as dry dirt, and 15% is oily, greasy, and sticky dirt. And how do we remove the dry dirt from the carpet? By using effective vacuuming techniques. And how do we take out the oily, greasy dirt? By using effective cleaning techniques that attack that oily dirt and remove it. So a lot of research has shown that a carpet can hold a lot of dirt. It actually can hold its own weight in dirt and still look good. And what do we mean by its own weight? Well, the specs on a carpet are that if you look at the back of a brand new carpet, you'll have the specs and it'll tell you what the face weight of the carpet is. The face weight tells you how many ounces of yarn are on the face of the carpet. So this is a 30-ounce carpet. And so that 30 ounce of face weight carpet can hold up to 2 pounds of dirt and still look pretty good. But if people don't remove it effectively and efficiently, eventually it reaches that level where it's got 2 times the weight of the face weight of the carpet, and that's almost 4 pounds of dirt. So that's both a benefit and a negative. The carpet can hold on to the dirt, but what we need to do is take advantage of that and remove it before it builds up to this point. Some studies have shown that in a typical commercial facility, 1,000 people will track 325 pounds of dirt into a building every year. You can imagine 1,000 people bringing that much dirt in, but suppose you've got a bigger facility, you've got 5,000 people coming in, or 10,000 people. You can imagine the amount of dirt that's being brought in every single year that way. So that's what we want to remove. So with the host cleaning strategy, we like to focus on the key areas in the facility in order to keep that dirt from spreading. So here you see a simple diagram with one outside entrance, the doorway coming up on the left there, a couple of indoor doors and a hallway. And then on the right side, you've got a picture of carpet in front of a hard floor showing you the traffic pattern as people walk through there. Just like the other picture I showed you, you can see that the dirt is concentrated where people walk, not in the edges. So you clean that and it all looks good. So as people come into this facility and they're bringing dirt in on their shoes, the dirt is tracked in there slowly as they walk in. First, it's just at the entrances, but then if nobody removes it efficiently and effectively, it starts to spread more and more within that facility until finally you've got these major traffic patterns and you have to clean the whole thing. What we like to do with the host system is, as on those pictures on the right, focus on the areas where people walk, the entrances, the areas that they walk down the center of a hallway. Concentrate on those areas which are collecting the dirt. And by focusing your vacuuming and also your cleaning on those areas, you help to keep the dirt from spreading throughout the facility like it does if you aren't following this kind of practice. So we make sure that we do these activities on a regular basis so that your carpet stays looking its best every day. So what are these areas that we want to focus on? Well, the main one, the most important one, is the track-off areas. That's anywhere where the carpet meets up against a hard floor, whether it's inside or outside. So on one picture here on the right, you see that's a main entrance. People are coming from outside, which is a cement sidewalk, and they're tracking the dirt in right there. You can see there's a track-off mat there to help to deal with that. And in the other picture, you see carpet in a room, and then there's a vinyl floor right next to it. So you get track-off off the vinyl floor onto the carpet. And that's another track-off area that we need to concentrate on. And then we have doorways within the facility, which we like to call funnel areas, because the foot traffic is funneled through that doorway, or a high traffic area in front of a counter, or in front of a vending machine or any of those places where people will focus and a little bit more soil will be accumulated there. So we focus on those areas. And then finally, all the main traffic areas within the facility. These are the basic main hallways which people use to get from point A to point B. Those are cleaned and vacuumed on a higher schedule than other parts of the carpet within this facility. And finally, one of the things we like to focus on is taking spots out every day as they occur. The best time to take a spot out is right when it happens. The sooner the better. And so you focus that and decide where are the spot prone areas. It might be a break room. It might be a kindergarten classroom where the girls and boys are playing with, tempera paints and they're drinking liquids and whatever. So these are areas to focus on. Now, this is a picture that was taken by a professional cleaner with one of those microscopic cameras that you can hook up to your laptop, and you can take a picture high resolution and magnified maybe 200-300 times. And you can see on the before side, the dirt and grit and oily, greasy dirt that's on the carpet there. And then after he did the host cleaning with his Liberator, you can see the after picture, the individual fibers within the yarn system are clean. They look great. They almost look brand new. That's what we're trying to accomplish. So as we try to focus on what's happening here, we have to remember that the dry dirt that's tracked in every day, because it is dry, ends up at the base of the carpet. Because it's not sticky, that's where it's going to go, right down to the base. And we remove that by effective vacuuming. The oily, greasy dirt is going to be at the tips of the yarn, because that's where your shoe touches the carpet. As you walk in, the grease and oil on your foot, you touch the carpet with your foot, and the greasy soil sticks there. The dry dirt is falling to the base. Now, our challenge and the challenge in cleaning is to get that out without driving it to the base of the carpet. And if we use typical methods that are used in the cleaning systems around the country and the world, use a lot of soap and shampoo, use a lot of water under pressure with detergents, you can easily dissolve that soil, but what tends to happen is most of it or much of it is driven to the base of the carpet. At that point, the carpet might look clean because the part that at the top is clean for the moment, but a lot of the soil and dissolved spots and spills has fallen to the base of the carpet. Eventually, it's going to come up as it dries. The liquid that's at the base is going to evaporate, which causes it to be drawn up the sides of the yarn, and the water evaporates, but the dirt stays behind. It's kind of like when you use a candle, the flame melts the wax, it keeps coming up. Same kind of thing that's happening here. Once the water has evaporated, then what happens is the dirt and the spots are left behind at the tips of the yarn. What we're trying to do is prevent this from happening with a controlled application of cleaning chemistry and focused targeted vacuuming, so we don't just redistribute the dirt in the carpet. And that's why these two machines are so important to the successful achievement of clean, good-looking carpet every day, because both of them combine pile lifting with the double brushing action and vacuuming to remove that deep down dirt that's in the base of the carpet. Because as people walk on the carpet, not only are they putting this dirt into the carpet, they're crushing and stomping on the yarns themselves, flattening them out. And then when you bring a regular vacuum along, you can't really pick that up. And that's why you don't get good vacuuming. But with the double brushing action here, you open up the pile, stand up the pile, and get that dry dirt out, and it goes into the machine. So the secret of the best maintenance approach is basically to use the maintenance benefits I've just described to you that your carpet offers you. Because it's easier to keep a clean carpet clean than to clean a dirty carpet. So our focus is to keep the carpet clean by focusing on those areas that I've described to you. In a traditional carpet cleaning approach, there really isn't a plan of regular cleaning. It's basically, okay, the carpet's new, we don't have to clean it. Then after several months or a year or two, it starts to look kind of dirty. So they decide to clean it. So you get a lot of sort of up and down and up and down and up and down in the appearance of the carpet. And each time you'll see that the frequency becomes shorter and shorter because of residues left behind and detergent left behind and other factors. And eventually you get to that point where your carpet has pretty much uglied out. We're trying to avoid that. And the host carpet maintenance plan is to focus on those areas I mentioned earlier, the track off areas, the funnel areas, and the main traffic areas. Clean and vacuum those areas on a regular basis. And you can see by the chart, you're keeping the appearance of the carpet at a high level, where compared to the traditional method, the appearance of the carpet was just heading down and down and down. So one of the things we like to describe is the 60-30-10 carpet cleaning rule. And what this means is that 60% of the time and effort that you're doing in a facility should be vacuuming. Because if you think about it, the majority of the dirt that's coming in every day is the dry dirt, which can be vacuumed. But if you vacuum and pile lift those areas daily with the host extractor vac, then you're taking that out and preventing it from being spread throughout the facility. The 30% is what needs the cleaning product, because that would be the oily soil that's coming in also. And so you use host and the extractor vac to clean those specific areas. And your carpet, especially when you're starting from a brand new installation, really never needs a restoration cleaning, because you start it clean and you follow these cleaning procedures, you'll keep it that way. However, when you clean with host, you're pretty much doing restoration cleaning every time you use it. And this 10% is basically focused on the highest traffic areas in the building. I'll call those the traffic areas, and the carpet walk-off mats that people place at those track-off areas at the entrances. And that's how you control the soiling and get the results that you want. So how do you use the system? Well, you go to the carpet you're going to work on and you apply the host cleaner. You do that either by applying by hand, or you use what you see in the picture there on the left, an applicator, which you fill with the product, and then you set it at at low, medium, or high level of soil, and just roll it out on the carpet, and it puts the right amount down. Then you take your machine. At this point, you turn the vacuum off, and you only turn on the brushes. So the brushes are working, circulating the cleaner through the carpet. And what they do is they come in contact with the dirty yarns. They dissolve, absorb that. You see the little sponges changing color as you're doing that. And then you turn the vacuum on again, and you vacuum the dirty host cleaner out of the carpet with the host machine and the vacuum nozzle that's right in between the brushes. That goes right into the bagless hopper. And when you're done, your carpet is clean, it's dry, and it's ready to use. And that's the basic approach. Now, with our machines, we do have some different brushes, accessories. The standard white nylon brush is used the majority of the time in commercial facilities. But we also have a zebra brush, which is a little bit stiffer for very low lupile carpet that might need a little more aggressive pile lifting. One thing you may or may not know is that with host, you can get these red nylon brushes, which are designed specifically for grouted tile and other textured hard floors. And you can clean those with those red brushes and the same host cleaner that we've been talking about that you use on the carpet. And then you have the semi-soft and the soft, which are used for much higher pile carpets, wool, silks, Berbers, things like that. You would use those two brushes for that purpose. So remember, this is how we're controlling the dirt in your facility. We start from outside because that's where the dirt's coming from. You sweep or leaf blow all the sidewalks every day and blow them out of the way so this dirt isn't tracked into your facility. Use well-textured textile mats at all your outside entrances. And it's not just enough to use them, but then you have to vacuum them every day with the Host extractor vac, which opens up the pile and gets that dry dirt out. You should also have carpet each in every elevator. This traps soil and helps to keep it from spreading to the upper floors in the building. And you're vacuuming and pile lifting all of this dry dirt with the Host machines on a daily basis. So these are the key points I want you to remember as we've gone through this information. Most of the dirt in your facility is classified and can be classified as dry and can be vacuumed effectively, about 85%. The oily, sticky soil represents only about 15%, and it tends to be concentrated in those key areas, track-off funnel and main traffic lanes, because the carpet localizes and traps the dirt and holds it there until you go there to vacuum and clean it. You control wicking with our system because we're not losing control of the liquid, so the spots and dirts are not going to reappear. And another thing that's to our advantage is the carpet gets dirty from the top down, so we can help to judge and evaluate what's happening. And most importantly, it gets dirty where people walk. Those are the key points you need to use. So you remember earlier that I started out by talking about the typical most common problems that people face when they're talking about their cleaning their carpet. We talked about they all complain about spots coming back. Well, with Host, the spots won't come back. Clean them once, they're gone. The carpet is wet and out of service when you use wet cleaning methods. But of course, with Host, the carpet is immediately ready to use and back in service. The clean doesn't last with wet cleaning methods. Resoiling is common, which causes more cleaning. With Host, the carpet stays cleaner longer because we leave no resoiling residues. And as Brian told you at the beginning, we've done some reformulating on the Host cleaner, and we actually have improved that resoiling characteristic by about 20%. And as we mentioned, the wet cleaning methods are often labor intensive and costly. Host saves you time and money every time that you use it. So you won't have carpet that is replaced prematurely and uglies out. Host in our facilities that we've worked with over the years has been proven to extend the life of your carpet, extend it double or triple its actual life. And finally, because we're controlling liquid, we don't get mold growth and bacteria growth and smells that tend to come from that kind of thing. Host improves the indoor air quality within the facility, which makes everything better for the people working there. And of course, you want to take out the spots every day, as I mentioned. And these are some of the typical problem spots that the carpet industry says are most common when consumers complain about them. And you've got them listed there: mustard, ketchup, black coffee, motor oil, grape juice, marker, chocolate syrup. And those are the things you want to take out right away. And one of the things that affects your ability to do this is to do the proper cleaning procedures, as we've talked about. What kind of spot are you dealing with? Is it water soluble? Is it oily and greasy? How long has it been there? Was it spilled today or 2 years ago? The temperature, maybe hot coffee can often be a little harder to deal with than cold coffee. It has something to do with the kind of fiber you're working on and the construction of the carpet. And we all have to have patience sometimes when we're doing spot cleaning. So we tried this with these typical spots here in our offices, the ones I just listed, and then we cleaned them with Host. And on a couple, we used some of the liquid Host spot remover to show you that you can effectively remove all kinds of spots and spills, and you do it effectively as soon as those spots appear, so you don't allow them to become worse and worse. So you got the before and after here on those two areas. A lot of the spots that you see are usually a result of some kind of spill or accident, and these typically come out very easy with a little bit of Host. And often when you're doing your vacuuming, you can remove those while you're vacuuming. Sometimes you need a little spot remover on those with a spotting cloth. Some of the stains that are more permanent, you might have to spend a little more time on those. use some other cleaning products that we have developed for that purpose, and you'll get the result that you want. But remember, again, the most important part of the cleaning activity is getting that dry dirt out. Pile lifting makes vacuuming more efficient. The hose machine with double brushing and the airflow will help you to accomplish that. You can do that either with the Liberator or the Freestyle. So here's how we control the dirt. We extract or vac the track-off areas every day, whether you can see dirt or not. You just know that people have been walking there. So every day, those track-off areas are vacuumed and pile lift. The funnel areas and main traffic areas, probably 2 to 3 times a week. Again, whether you can see the dirt or not, that keeps the hidden dirt from accumulating and spreading throughout your carpet. And then you can surface vacuum every week or so with a typical commercial upright for all the rest of the carpet, which tends to be out of the main traffic area. And then the oily, sticky dirt is controlled by focusing on those same areas I've just mentioned, but using hose to clean the track-off funnel and main traffic lanes. Again, removing the spots every day. By doing this, you minimize cleaning chemistry, you minimize the residues that you leave behind. You don't get wick back, carpet stays cleaner longer, and you get better carpet life within your facility. And again, the spot removal is an everyday activity. On wet spills, you just blot up the moisture, put some hose on it, let it dry, and then vacuum. For dry spots, you vacuum it, put some hose on it, brush, vacuum, you're done. If you do this regularly, you have clean carpet all the time. These are a couple of examples of some facilities that have used these techniques and this strategy that I have described in their facility, just as an example. So here's a picture of a heavily trafficked front counter reception area. This carpet is 7 years old when this picture was taken, and it has been host maintained from the first day the carpet was installed, and it basically looks brand new. This carpet has been maintained for 8 years with host. It's actually a 10-year-old carpet, so it was restored with host cleaning and then maintained for 8 years. And right now, this is a 10-year-old carpet, and it looks great. Looks like it could have been installed yesterday. And then one more, this is a 20-year-old carpet, which was dirty when they first started using host. So they restored the carpet with host and then maintained it for the next 5 years, giving them longer use out of that carpet. And you can see, again, it looks essentially brand new. Now, this happened to be a school, and the custodians in that school told us in the past, when we used wet extraction, one custodian could clean 6 classrooms in a day. Now, since they've switched over to the hose strategy I've described, one custodian is able to clean 14 to 16 classrooms a day, essentially more than doubling their productivity, which helps with their costs within that facility. So what does all this mean? It means that 100% of the carpet in your facility can be maintained effectively and in a cost-effective manner by focusing on 30 to 50% of the carpet that is actually getting dirty. And of course, host will clean and maintain any of the carpet in your facility. So here's the bottom line. With host, you don't have wick back. You have a carpet that stays clean. You don't have wet carpet. You don't have slip and fall risks. It's generally 30 to 50% less costly. As we mentioned, the energy savings on a host system versus other wet cleaning methods is often more than 83% over the other methods. You can double or even triple the life of the carpet. Host is Green Seal certified. It's USDA bio-based. And as we've mentioned, it helps to improve indoor air quality because it leaves your carpet dry, clean, and ready to use right now. So I think what we're going to do right now is I'm going to show you the equipment here. and go through some of the features, and then we'll get to any of your questions. So here's the
You're good, Jeff. Go ahead.
over here. We'll be ready in a second.
Jeff, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, but can you see me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, here's the Liberator. It comes in this caddy, which makes it very easy to transport from place to place because of the wheels. So within a facility or wherever you're working with it, you can do that quickly and easily. I'm gonna take this off here, but just wanted to show you that we have some new labeling on the machine. On the front, when you buy a new machine, you'll see this tag, which gives you all kinds of useful information on how to get going with your cleaning system, and it's right on the front of the unit. In addition, when the machine comes to you, it's essentially assembled and ready to go. You just take the carton off and you're ready to go. The Liberator is locked into this caddy with these two locks right there, so you release those. And then you plug the machine in, which we've already done. You turn on the brush. And you just drive the machine off the caddy that way. So it's very easy. You don't have to lift anything. You just drive it right off. So the first thing I want to point out to you is the brushing action on the unit. I've been talking a lot about this. But here you see the two counter-revolving brushes that rotate this way towards each other. And right in the middle here is the vacuum nozzle that's delivering 130 CFM of airflow while the brushing action is opening up the pile, lifting the pile, and getting the dry dirt out. Now that then brings, with the vacuum on, it comes up this hose here, goes into here, and eventually ends up into the filter system, which I'll show you in a minute. And this is a new label on the machine on the back. And you see it's got a QR code here that you just take your phone and it will send you to our website and a video showing you and your employees and anybody using the machine how to effectively use the machine. So you just use the QR code and do that. Now, I know you can't see this because it's a little bit dark, but we also have on every machine an hour meter. It's covered and protected by this crevice tool. It's right here on the unit. And what that'll tell you is how many hours the machine is being run. So you can keep track of that, keep track of how it's being used in your facility. And so that's the reason for that. And then the filters are underneath this hood, and you snap this open, you take this off. I'll get to that in a moment. And we've got basically a triple filtration system here. These two filters, the black and the orange. The first one filters out particles down to 105 microns. The second one gets 200 microns. And then in the center here is the vacuum nozzle, which, the vacuum separator. And you put these filters back. So as you're vacuuming, then the last part of this filtration system is this foam piece and the fine particle filter that gets you down to 1 micron at 99% efficiency. And if you would like to, for some facilities they do like to, you can get a hepatite filter, which gets you down to 0.3 microns at 99% efficiency. So then once you've done all the vacuuming, the last thing that happens is it goes through that system, through the filtration, and then everything ends up in this bagless hopper that you can easily dump into a trash can. Now I'm going to show you a quick cleaning on this carpet here, and then we can answer some questions. So
just as I mentioned in the presentation, you'll see that most of the soil in the carpet is dry, and the effectiveness of the Liberator or the Freestyle and opening up the carpet pile, digging in and getting that dry soil out is a big key to the actual performance of the hose system. Then after you've done that, you're going to take the hose cleaning product. I got some here, and just apply it to the carpet to get any of the last little bit of greases and oil that might be there. I'm going to put this to the side. Now I'm going to be brushing just with the brushes without using the vacuum. And typically what you would do is those 3 passes, north and south, east and west, north and south, then you're done. And one of the things you should be able to see here, as I move the hose machine out of the cleaning, is you look at the hose that I circulated through the carpet and a little bit of the hose fresh from the bag. And you can see how it's changed color because it's absorbed the dirt that's there. And so you can see it in the change of the color of the product. So let me just brush that a little bit and then I'll vacuum. Now we'll turn off the vacuum. And you can see where we are. And it's clean and dry and ready to use. And I'll just move this out of the way. And you can see what we were doing before and where we are now. The last thing I'll do is I'm going to put the machine back into the caddy, and then we can have some Q&A time. I'm going to lock the handle, then get the caddy lined up here. And press once you do that, then you lock it back into the caddy and off you go. So I guess we're ready to Thanks for some of your questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you everybody for your participation today. We'll jump right into some of the questions that were out there and some of our technical specifications. Adrian, you asked a couple questions around the decibels and whatnot that the machines operate on. All of those are available inside the spec sheets on the hostdry.com website. If you have not been there, I encourage all of you to take a minute to go to hostdry.com. You can not only look up the machine specifications, but you can also download that catalog. That catalog is machine specific as well as all the host product line. So I would encourage you to take a look there. David, we have another question here around, will the seminar be available later for viewing? Absolutely. This seminar will be posted online. We'll obviously do some editing to it, but obviously then be able to have that online for individuals to view. The question, I guess rather a statement we received around maintenance. It is very true, Michael, that getting people to understand what maintenance is and understanding carpet maintenance is critical. When you look at case studies, Tom, again, on site, when you go to, again, hostdry.com, I will refer you to the site. You'll see resources on the right-hand side. Please go down to e-cases. On e-cases, you'll have all your case studies available for you to be able to download, not only use as a PDF and forward to a customer or client, but also for you to reference anytime you want to. And so that way you're able to get that information. When you look at the business, some of the things that is very exciting about those is not just, as Jeff covered, the 85 years of innovation and awards have been won, but what we're doing next as an innovator in the space. I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation a little bit about sort of the press shafts. I talked to you a little bit about, what we're doing and changing that model. The innovation around and thinking through, what is a Liberator, and just even a small onboard machine labeling allows for operators who traditionally don't or do not know, have not gone through a host webinar or school to understand what it is and how it operates. And those things are critical when you're dealing with an industry in the building services sector that has an average turnover rate of 357%. One of the things that we recognize that host is becoming more technology enabled allows for us to be able to take our cleaning methodology and bring it to the forefront. One of the things that we're accomplishing, one of the things that we're driving as an organization that you'll see coming from myself as the CEO and owner of the organization is that host predominantly isn't an industrial vacuum. Our competition is not necessarily truck mount water-based systems. Our competition is Bissell. Stand up sanitaire as a vacuum, because the host lifting and pile action, because 85% of your problem that you're dealing with is that pile lifting and dirty dirt. That's where you want to address and attack what we're doing. So those are some of the questions. Let me see if I can't answer one or two of them more specifically, or we can open it up to anybody if you want to raise your hand using the raise your hand feature. We'll go ahead and unmute.
Right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I want to go back to some of these questions.
Sure.
Just to cover a few things. I noticed that Adrian has several questions here.
Right.
First one says, was there a study done to come to that 83.13 reduction? Yes, there was. And yes, it is available. And if you will either send me an email at Jeff, which is spelled GEOSS, at hostdry.com, I will send you that information. In addition, you ask about a database of carpet specs. Well, I can get one for you. Are you asking perhaps to help you make a decision as to what carpet to put into a facility or a home? I mean, I can answer some of those questions. You can also find out information about the carpet specs just by going to any of the carpet manufacturers' websites. But you can ask me more about that in an email if you like. With Michael, you said maintenance, if we could only get that through to the other side of our customers. And I agree with you there. And again, I can send you a folder, a brochure that we put together to help you lay out the carpet cleaning host strategy, which I think will be a helpful tool for you to give to your customers and to go through the information in that piece. And so I will get that to you, assuming we have your email on the list. Let's see, is there any?
So one of the questions that Adrian asked, Jeff, if I can.
Yeah.
Adrian asked the question, is host equipment made in America?
Yes.
In sponges. And so I'd like to take that out of this. So Adrian, 100%, right? All of our equipment, our raw materials are sourced. We are out of Racine, Wisconsin. Our materials are sourced in the United States. Our machines are built in the United States. As I say to everyone, we bring in raw bar steel into our CNC machines. We cut and make our own parts, and we cut and make our own product. So with that, everything is built inside, including the sponges. Yes, the sponges are made and manufactured in the United States. They are sourced from processed organic fiber within inside the United States. So if we wanted to, and in fact, it does say it on the machine, we don't carry a big flag, but we could on the back of the machine of made in America, because we are. Let's unmute Tom and see if we can't get him. He has a question. He raised his hands first. Let's see if we can't get a live question from Tom. So Amanda, can you find Tom and go ahead and unmute him?
I see him.
Am I unmuted yet?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great presentation. Thank you very much. It was informative. One of the things, actually, I'll just make it quick to give other people a turn. I wanted to ask sort of, I guess, a 3-part question in regards to the Berber olefin level loop carpet that's requiring sort of a restoration clean and sort of setting the customer expectations, because of all of the carpets that I've cleaned. The cut pile carpets I've found so far, maybe it's just my technique, I'm not sure, or experience level, but I found that the cut pile are much easier to clean, sort of bring back, and because it just, with the pile lifting technology, it really stands out on the cut pile, but on the level loop Berber style carpets, it doesn't stand out nearly as nicely. And those are the only carpets that I really had a challenge bringing back to life. And then, so there's that, but then to feed into that, adding extra for the extra sponges used to sort of really do a great job and not underpricing the job, and sort of putting together that I get what you're saying about the daily maintenance and cleaning, but then selling that at the rate is sort of one of the things that I've struggled in. I can price an individual job out, but what I'm going to be doing, say I've got to come in every day, or I've got to put somebody on the job every day and price them in, and then I've got to make a profit on it. How to sell that to a customer on the day-to-day is sort of, I'd love to know a little bit about that, because that would really be helpful for me.
Sure. Let me get to your other question first about the olefin Berber style. You are correct. It's a little harder to clean. Part of it has to do with the characteristics of olefin, which is the least, how should we put it, the least resilient of all the carpet fibers. It tends to crush and mat out very quickly, especially, of course, in high traffic areas. And that is what is creating the challenge, because it doesn't have a good ability to spring back. If it was a nylon, it wouldn't crush and mat that quickly. If it was polyester, it wouldn't do that. So the number one thing to do on these olefin Berbers is making sure that you're using the zebra brush on your machine, and that you do a lot of pre-vacuuming and pile lifting with that before you put any cleaning product on the carpet. And the more of that you do, the more you will open up the carpet pile, because what we're trying to do is get that crushed loop to open up enough so that we can get our cleaning chemistry to penetrate to help us to clean. And of course, the other thing is try to encourage your customers to get it cleaned more often. Now, I don't know if you're talking about a residential customer or a commercial customer.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to, just realized I was not muted, so I don't want to speak over you. Yeah. So it's actually both. I tend to focus more on the commercial, but sometimes there's residential customers that use their carpets commercially for like an Airbnb example, where they don't see the value, the maintenance and so forth. But so it's a residential carpet application, but it's used more commercially in that setting, but also commercially.
The point still stands, especially if it's an olefin burner. It just has a negative performance in terms of the resiliency of the yarn. So more vacuuming and more cleaning. So again, that piece that I mentioned, I think it was to Adrian or somebody else about the host cleaning strategy is something that I would, I don't know if it's on the website, I'm not sure, but we can certainly put it there, as well as I can send you an email with that, and you can take those pieces to help you explain that. Now, the whole strategy of carpet maintenance that I went through, I mean, it is applicable to any kind of carpet in any situation. However, if you're talking about a residential customer, their soiling level is going to be much lower than some professional office building that has 5,000 people coming in. It'll take a long time for a homeowner to get 5,000 people. So I'm talking about the level of traffic and the level of soiling. So the cleaning that I'm talking about in a home, where in a commercial facility, I would say vacuum the main entrances every day with the Liberator or the Freestyle. In this case, in a home, I might back that off because they're not going to get 5,000 people. So the level of soiling isn't going to be the same. So maybe you're doing, I don't know, either a monthly or maybe even a quarterly vacuuming procedure. And then at that same quarterly time, doing some touch-up cleaning. You can judge that in terms of pricing by basically analyzing the amount of time that you're spending there. In other words, you base it on a certain amount of time per hour. Lots of cleaners I know have done that. Of course, most of them have been in business a long time, so they know how long it takes them to do something, and they've developed an hourly rate. So when they offer maintenance to a residential customer, they base it on hourly, and they let the customer choose. Like they could say, I'll give you 1 hour a month, or I'll give you 2 hours a month, and here are the rates for that so that we can get your carpet up to an acceptable level.
Let's go ahead and move on to another question here, right, Jeff? Bill.
What's the question?
Hi, thanks so much.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this webinar. Appreciate it.
So we recently bid a senior center, and their situation is this is a huge facility. The cafeteria area is their main focus. The kitchen is like off to one side, and they've grown so much in the past few years that they've had to open up a staging area, which is across the room, which is a good 50 yards. The whole area is carpeted, so they are running carts back and forth from the kitchen to the staging area where they package their food and go deliver it to seniors. But they also have, people that eat in this huge cafeteria area. They've gone through 2 different steam cleaner systems. We quoted them last year. We were high, which I knew we would be. She called me back and said that they've just been having more issues. So we went back and we re-quoted them. But when I do call her back, we've done samples for her. She sees the value, but she has a board of directors she has to deal with. And, of course, everything boils down to the dollar.
Yeah.
So the area of where they're running their carts is just heavily greased. You can only imagine coming off of a kitchen area with rubber wheels running right over this beautiful carpet. So it's just ground in. I have 2 Liberators. I have the Freestyles. I've got all the equipment, but it's going to take an enormous amount of product to get this thing back into shape. So I don't just feel like doing the extraction vacuuming over and over again is going to cut that. So would the Host Spotter or your pre-spray help? Because I use a different pre-spray that works pretty good to break this down a little quicker and be more effective.
Yeah, I think that first of all, you have to get that carpet restored.
Right.
And probably the prep pre-treat would work effectively to help you do that along with the host. And I'm assuming you're using Zebra brushes on the machines.
Yes.
But even before that, somehow you have to get across to them what the maintenance strategy is. And I'm going back to that same piece that I've talked about a couple times to help them understand what you're doing, because they wanted to go with you, but they went back to wet extraction because it was cheaper. My point would be, is it really cheaper?
Right.
Or is your carpet just getting worse and worse, where you have to have them do more cleaning more often and you're still not getting the results?
Right.
And then going to the thing that Brian mentioned, go to our website on the E case studies. There's some good case studies in there that might help you to focus this customer's attention on what you're trying to do. But when you properly apply this cleaning strategy I mentioned, you heard me say it in the presentation, you can effectively extend the life of their carpet beyond what they are getting now. And we have situations where people have got carpet from some manufacturer that has a 20-year warranty, and they still have that carpet on the floor 30 years later. So it comes down to doing the maintenance cleaning correctly. Because before, in some of these places that I showed you examples of, some of those were schools, and they were replacing the carpet in their schools at 6 or 7 years, even though the manufacturer had given them a 20-year warranty. So they're not getting the money out of their carpet. Right. They're saving on their wet extraction, which, by the way, they're not. But they're also not saving because they're replacing carpet too quickly. And if you look at that other study about how much energy cost savings are there, the difference is if you're wet cleaning, you got to deal with all that water. You have to treat it, heat it. You got to recycle it. You can't just dump it anywhere. And then you got to get the place dry. That all costs money. I remember one school in Florida. Now, this was maybe 8 years ago, but they told me that in 1 year he took he had very clear records of what they were doing in one of his school buildings. And he said with the previous wet cleaning application, they were spending 2 cents a square foot of their carpet. So let's say they had 30,000 square foot. It was 2 cents per square foot just to pay the energy cost based upon the fact that they turned up the HVAC to help dry the carpet.
Wow.
So all these other factors that are involved, and they're so focused on just the cost of the cleaning that somebody's offering, but it's not getting them the performance. And if they're replacing the carpet, and obviously she called you back, so she's not happy with the appearance, what are you really getting for that money?
Right. And that's what I did try to explain to her over and over. But again, she's dealing with, she wants to go with us, but she has that board of directors that she has to deal with. So I have to get in front of the board of directors.
Getting that information in front of them that I can send to you, that's, I think, a good piece to outline what I'm talking about to help them understand.
Yeah, that'd be great, Jeff. One other thing is, because water usage, we're out here in California, and, water usage is a big thing.
All right.
So I've always been curious as to how we could land more type or get in the door with government buildings based on the fact that we use zero water.
Well, that can be part of what the Green Building Council calls their leadership in energy and design. And we've done some work on that where we can show there's basically 4 categories in that LEED program. One of them has to do with water usage. I forget what all the other ones do. One of them might be energy and so forth. And if you implement host within a building, you will be able to get what are called credits against those various criteria in the LEED program. So that's one way of approaching it. I can send you some information on that.
That'd be great.
And of course, water usage. I mean, we do have a little bit of information about how much water you can save by switching from wet extraction to host. And it is a significant amount of water that you're saving. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but
Right.
I can send you some of that as well as a way of, because the person who wants to get the Green Building Council's LEED qualifications and certifications, they have to prove to the Green Building Council that they did these things. So they're going to need the data. I can give you some data for another building, but that wouldn't necessarily help them. They would have to actually track that to help them take advantage of those certifications.
I gotcha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Somebody's asking, what is the average host cost per square foot versus cost per square foot for wet extraction? Well, they're pretty much the same in a lot of markets, but the host guy is making more money on that. In the residential market, I'm not sure where you're from, but probably 40, 50 cents a square foot is pretty typical for residential cleaning. Sometimes the wet extractors will offer the same price, but what a lot of the wet extraction companies do is they do a low ball initial quote, and it might be 40 cents or whatever it is. And then when they get into the home, they do the add-on where they say, well, that 40 cents was good for average soil, but your carpet is pretty badly soiled. So we're going to have to use a little pre-spray and some extra this and extra that. And so they then tend to bump up the cost. So ultimately they get the price they really wanted, which was way over what any dry cleaner would have bid. So that was a written question. What are the operating, is that decibel? I believe they're about 74 to 76, but I hate to quote that until I don't remember the price, the number exact. I might have to send you something or at least get that to somebody so we can send you that information. And then, okay, somebody's asking, this is Robbie Gilbert. He asks, how do I confirm my Liberator suction is performing at its best? Does the skirt aid in the suction? Well, the skirt does aid because it helps to keep things underneath a little bit. So it does make a difference. So the air isn't leaking a lot around it. But so that is one thing. But the next thing is making sure that you are cleaning all of the parts that go into the vacuuming to make sure that everything is clean. For example, the filters that I showed you, if they become really loaded with dirt, with whatever they're picking up, we have a light on the machine that will go on, it'll turn red. And that tells you if it turns red, it has gone from 130 cubic feet of air per minute down to, what's half of that? 65, something like that. So you've cut the suction in half just by having that red light go on. So you have to make sure that everything in those filters is clean. You have to make sure that the elbow on the Liberator, on the hose that comes from the base of the unit up to the machine, I hope you know what I'm talking about. Maybe I can let me get this, what I'm talking about. This is the hose with the elbow points on it. And this elbow is where hose and other dirt can get stuck. And sometimes if you don't check it frequently, or certainly after every job, you will look in here and there will be hose and dirt sort of clogged in this area, which again reduces the airflow and the suction power. So first of all, make sure all of those things are correct. Also on the vacuum nozzle on the Liberator right at the base between the two brushes, you should also be checking that for clogs that come from carpet fuzz and other debris. And there's a thin brush that you can use. A lot of people call it a bottle brush. We don't have one, but you can get it at any store that sells kitchen supplies. The bottle brush is thin enough and it's got fibers on it that you can stick it into that vacuum nozzle and just make sure that any clogs are not there. Somebody's asking, Bray is asking, which, if any, carpet manufacturers specify hose? Well, there's several of them. Aga Carpets is a European company that specifically calls it out in their maintenance guidelines. Mohawk is a pretty large American manufacturer. Sorry, I keep going out of the picture. If you go to their website, they don't specifically recommend like one brand of cleaning, but you will see pictures on their website of a hose freestyle. You'll see somebody holding a handful of hose. We talk about that for using on spots, even though they don't specify a brand. They just talk about dry extraction cleaning products are good. And there's a number of other manufacturers that do that same thing. They'll list wet extraction, they'll list dry extraction, and some call out by brand. Some of them will use some of our pictures, which we have allowed them to do, but they don't specify necessarily. But we do get leads and questions from them. And so just check out some of the manufacturers you're looking for. Mohawk also has Bigelow as part of that group. And there's a couple other names that I'm forgetting right now. And Interface is another one. J&J Industries, they'll have images and descriptions, but they won't specifically say this is the only one to use. Robbie, you also asked about problem spots. What other products exist and where are your products available to purchase? Well, the products in our product line, I did mention during the presentation, you have the hose spot remover and the prep, which can be helpful on a lot of the tougher spots that I mentioned. Those are available to purchase from any of our distributors. I don't know where you are located in the US or somewhere else, but if you go on our website, you can look up local distribution and it'll bring you up a map and it'll show you distributors in your area. If you're unable to find one, if you remember my email, you can send me an email and say, I'm looking for this. But if you're unable to find one and we're unable to find one, you can just buy directly from us and we'll help you with that as well. There are some other specialty products that some people use that you'll be able to buy at a typical janitorial supply company. You won't need them very often, but I know a few cleaners who use one or another of these things. What's important is whenever they use any spot remover, whether it's ours or somebody else's, they always follow up with the hose cleaning of that area that they've been working on in order to absorb and remove the residues which are left by some of these other chemicals or even what's left with our chemical. Although our chemical isn't a resoiler, but it's still always good to do a follow-up as the last thing to take out anything that you've used to remove the spot. If most carpet today is synthetic, this is from Ray, how can mold grow? Isn't the stuff the carpet collects and gets trapped that causes the mold? Yeah, well, I think you answered your own question. It's not that the mold is growing on a plastic fiber. I mean, it might be a little bit there, but there has to be something for the mold to grow on. And it's not going to grow on plastic unless there is some other contaminant there. You know, maybe it's a food spill, or maybe it's an accident from a dog or a cat or whoever, from a person. These things, if they're not fully removed and they're allowed to remain wet, they combine with other soil in the carpet that wasn't removed. And that's where the mold is growing. It's not the fiber. The plastic fiber doesn't grow anything. And in addition, you've got the backing of the carpet, which depending on the construction, in between the primary and the secondary backing, you've got a latex adhesive. And in that latex adhesive, there's a certain percentage of clay that they use to balance out the cost of the adhesive. That gets affected by wet cleaning. Some of it can break down over time, and that can combine with soils and other things that are driven into the carpet, and they don't just go to the base of the carpet, they go through the base and contribute to mold problems. So if you use Host, you won't have that issue, but it isn't the fiber that's growing it, it's whatever other contaminants and junk is in it. It says here from Robbie again, I understand Host will be marking the sponge containers with a use by date. Yes. What is the light though? The spot is before it's no longer 100% viable. Yes, we are using a use by date in order to get you the opportunity to have the best possible performance. And that's generally a year from manufacturing. And you'll see it stamped on the bucket. Just like with some food items that are packaged in a jar or something, and they also have a use by date, you know that you can sometimes go past that without a problem, because the use by date is like the absolute, here's the best option, but I've used it past the use by date. With the Host product, I can't guarantee you, but so many people have been able to use it successfully after that 1 year of life that I'm not going to say you have to absolutely throw it away. It's probably still going to work, especially if it hasn't been opened and closed and opened and closed, and you haven't properly sealed the bucket, then you're going to lose some of the effectiveness. I prefer that you rotate your product within that use by date time period, because that'll get you the best overall result. And that's where we are there. But that'll be showing up soon. So Magic Mist is asking, can you explain the effectiveness of the Host cleaning system on straight cut pile to loose side? The Host is effective on both of those. There is something to be said that on a cut pile, if you imagine my fingers being yarns, the cut pile yarn is like my fingers like that. So they're each standing upright, and there's spaces in between, and you can get to them. People can crush that down, but when you brush with the Liberator or Freestyle and open things up, you now have access to the dirt and things that have gone down in between like this. So it does, in general, make it easier to clean. If you have a loop pile carpet, it's like if I take my fingers and make a fist, and now each of those yarns is like that. And so you've got dirt and things that eventually work their way underneath here. How are you going to get to that? Well, again, you're going to have to use the Host machines, Liberator, Freestyle, whatever, and to open up those crushed yarns, because the loop ones will also crush down a lot. And if you can't open that up, you're not going to be able to get in between there to effectively clean. So again, I think I've said this, I don't know, maybe 200 times today, that vacuuming and pile lifting is the key to getting the best result. And with this, especially on a loop pile carpet, when somebody's using the typical commercial upright vacuum cleaner, some of those have brushes, some don't. Some are just straight suction vacuums. A straight suction vacuum is going to do nothing to get the dry dirt out of this situation in a loop pile carpet. Just nothing. It'll get what's lying up here, but not this. But when you incorporate the double brushing action that we have, at least you'll have an opportunity to open that up in order to get to that soil that has been crushed during foot traffic and makes it difficult. Adrian says, if the freestyle is the freestyle the option to go with, if I have to deal with carpeted, hard textured stairs on a regular basis, yes, the freestyle is the one to go for and use because you can remove the vacuum pod and you can remove the handle. You can use just the base of the unit on stairs with either the red brushes, if it's some sort of textured material, or, you know, the gold, sorry, not the gold, the white or the zebra for carpeted situations. And so that gives you the flexibility to do all of those things. You're not going to be able to use a Liberator on stairs. It doesn't come apart. It's all one piece, as I think it's just going to be too heavy to even try to accomplish that. Plus, it might be dangerous. So use the freestyle to accomplish that because it's designed for that purpose. Let's see, Tom is asking, is there a measurement or and something used to assess the remaining lifespan of my brushes? Yes, you can measure them, measure the diameter of the brush. A brand new brush has here's the brush. This isn't brand new, but I just happened to notice it was here. A brand new brush is 5 inches from here to the other side. 5 inches when it's brand new. As you use it, the bristles are going to wear down. On this machine, on this brush, the zebra brush, actually, the black bristles wear a little bit faster than the white bristles. So you can just take something and measure that to see where you are. But when it gets to less than 4.5 inches, yes, 4.5 inches, then you need to replace the brush. So it's basically losing 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Okay, Jeff Brown is asking about host classes. Are they done online or in person? Well, typically we did all of them in person. Now with this webinar, we have started because we're thinking about doing, this isn't the one and only and no more. I think we intend to sorry, I'm talking to the wrong people. I'm talking to the wrong screen. We intend to do more webinars, more of these types of educational things, more of this question and answer stuff. And we can do that online like this. And maybe I think we're looking at doing something like this on a quarterly basis. I think we also have some plan in the future where we will offer some in-person classes. But I don't know what all the planning is on that. Maybe Brian has a thought on that, but yes. So we want to get back to both, but we offer a lot of these materials online. You can also send me an email with specific questions about something. We'd be happy to help you there. From Adrian. Adrian, you're like on fire. For heavily soiled carpets where soiling has spread to the edges, if the space, what would you recommend? Oh, for the cleaner along the baseboard. Yeah, well, if it gets to that point, obviously somebody hasn't done the maintenance that they should have, because typically along the edges, it's mostly dust. Sometimes it's what's called filtration soiling, because in a home, typically you can have forced air heat, and it tends to take the dirty air and go from one floor to another and in between, and forces the this dirty air, and the carpet there acts like a filter. So it's always the first thing that you do. You're probably going to be tired of me saying this, is vacuum, vacuum, vacuum the heck of that out of that. The more the better. Just to
Back tomorrow.
try to remove as much as you can. And then in our host spotting kit, we have a small hand brush that comes in that kit, or you can get the hand brush separately. And then you would apply the prep free spray. And then some of the host, you'd have to do it by hand because it's just too close to the edge to get it efficiently, and then use the hand brush to work it. So it takes a little bit of extra effort that way. But then after you brush it, then you leave the host sitting there where you just worked, just leave it there, clean the rest of the carpets. And so you give that area some time to become dry, to have the what we call dwell time, which is the time that the cleaning chemistry is actually touching the fibers, helping to break them up and dissolve them. And then when you finished all the other cleaning, then you do your final vacuuming of those edges. Trying to clean upholstered church pews. What do you recommend best way to apply? Well, recommend not to use host on the pews. I mean, you can, won't hurt anything. I mean, it's not going to cause any damage. It'll do a little bit of cleaning, but it's kind of labor intensive and not that easy to do. The thing you should do is use the Iridex upholstery cleaning machine, which is on our website. And you can see that. And it uses a dry foam application, which is a detergent that has been formulated as a non-resoiling detergent that we inject additional air into the mixture. So it's a mixture of water, this detergent, and then more air so that the foam comes out of the power brush, the cleaning brush, almost like the texture of shaving cream versus like soap suds, which tend to usually be really wet. So then you use that with the hand brush, the power brush, and you clean the pews that way. And as you vacuum them first, as you do with anything, and then you use this brush. You can check it out on our website, and it gets great results, and especially on church pews because they're usually not that terribly filthy, but you can have spots and things. So. What is needed to become a host distributor? This is from Jay Marshfield. Well, you can fill out the distributor form on our website. You go to the website again, and there's a place where you can say, become a distributor, and you click that button, and then you fill out that information and send it in to us, and then we'll look at it. I mean, typically, we're looking for people who are, this might sound like I'm going around in circles, but people who are in the distributing business where you sell cleaning supplies, maintenance equipment, vacuums, mops and buckets. I mean, that tends to be where a lot of our distributors are. But if you're interested in pursuing that, that's the way to do it. Go to the website, fill out that form, and then we'll be in touch with you after we have received that. One more or two more. Ms. Adrian, are there any flooring material that can be damaged by host chemicals? I'm thinking of the transitions, many newer construction, residential with carpeting to luxury vinyl plank. Well, of course, host is perfectly safe for carpet, and we use host to clean LVT and the luxury vinyl planks. It's a texture typically, so that works. There's no issue with that. We've done cleaning on all kinds of different types of hard floors and had very good success. Slate, of course, grouted tile, stone, some epoxies. The real thing you got to look for is it a textured floor or literally just a flat, smooth surface, like maybe a granite floor, which has no texture. It's just smooth. And it's not that there's any problem there. It's just that it's probably easier just to do it the conventional way for a floor that doesn't have the texture. The thing that makes Host work on hard floors is whether or not they have some sort of texture, highs and lows, which of course grouted tile does, and stone and slate and luxury vinyl tile and epoxy. Those are all textured floors. So that's what we look for. I think it looks like we might be finished. Anybody have any other questions? Please feel free to send me an email. Again, it's Jeff, GEOFF, at hostdry.com. And I'm not sure if Brian is still in the program, so he can't. So I'm sorry, Brian. I know he had to go, but feel free to contact me anytime. Or Brian, I think you have his email as well, Brian at hostdry.com. And okay, I'm going to stop looking at you and look at the camera. So I really appreciate all of you being here and signing on to our first webinar. As I said, we plan to do more. We'll keep you aware of what those will be and when we'll do them. But I do want to thank you all for attending. You had a lot of great questions, so I appreciate that. I think some of the people who signed up for this sent some questions when they signed up, and a lot of those I answered before this. So I may have sent you an answer to one of your questions, and you got it by email. But anyway, thank you very much for attending, and I think we're going to call it quits for today. Thanks again.